Okay, so what I wanted to do is go through what it looked like in 2020. It was a big step up for me in terms of success. Of course, still some failures, but color all over the place. Some I grew from seeds, some I bought in unique places, but here you're seeing along the back of the house, you got four kinds, one, two, three, four, five, six kinds of petunias, butterfly bushes, and small roses. Okay, that was new for this year. This is just panning to the right. Now you add in blanket flower, two osteospermums, another funky petunia. There's yet another one. The marigolds I all grew from seed, pushed back. You got two begonias to the right of that butterfly bush in the upper right there, and that's still there. That's one success. Now, here's all the failed roses, okay? So that's the first one. And this is the front yard. See those small roses? They're not miniatures, they're just a smaller kind. So this is one of my two experiments this year was these kind of roses that actually just didn't, so it doesn't look that great and it looked even worse the next year. So none of those are in there. Some more marigolds I grew from seed. Marigolds are easy to grow from seed. Now, this is the shade side. This is kind of a bleeding heart with a stilby behind it. But again, that's colorful for shade, for a lot of shade plant. That's my Phlox intensia. You got purple, white, red. So that's kind of my patriotic thing. You can see how early in the year is. On the below, that's actually bulb leaves still in there. So it's probably the third week of May. More my same thing there. At the bottom, that's bulb leaves. I think those were hyacinths. You see how crummy they look? So I start feeding them now. So the variegated leaves are actually a bush morning glory. And there's some more of those a little bit later in the season. There you got blue with white trim and pure white. To the left are the start of the purslane, and they bloom all over the place a little bit later. And you got several petunias, and there's some more of those small roses. And that's one of my two lilies, and that is a really good picture. It's very sharp, and it looks great. I wish it would bloom like that longer. Heliotrope and one of my 12 by 12 planters that I have more and more every year because those are cool. So there's my planters, right? I still don't have enough spots to grow stuff. So I started buying these planters. They're some painted black. They're all painted black now. So in the foreground, two crazy tunias on either end, and those are gladiolus bulbs, which I was very unhappy with because they were so small. Upper left is a hardy hibiscus. Upper right is a lantana. There's just a cool looking petunia in one of the 12 by 12. It's almost getting to where I should probably scissor it back a little bit to keep it thicker. My one bush on that side of the house, my bush rose, it's not sunny enough. It's just not sunny. It looks okay there, but it's not enough. Butterfly bush that has since been moved to the right, and that white lily is there behind it. Those buds don't get that big the whole season. Cool looking coreopsis, two kinds. And there's the deep purple butterfly bush to the right, which doesn't get enough sun, but it still does okay there. That's a cool looking dianthus. This is the sunny back corner. So I was happy with that one, and there it is panned back with a lantana, and that light purple is Egyptian starflower. So this another fad I had. I had like 4 of those in this year. Some more of the variegated bush morning glory. And just for a change of pace, I found this guy in the back left corner of my small yard. I'm like, what in the world is he doing here? He had to cross some roads to get there, actually. So pretty wild there. There's to the right of the front. Those Huchuras looked great this year, especially that peach one, right? But every year after this, it went downhill. And I'm not sure why. So you see 2 fuchsia in there. You've got 4 polka dot plants. You've got 3 bedding impatiens, lower right, left, and 2 to the right in front of the yellow Huchera. There's my New Guinea impatiens on the official shady side, and you can't beat that. It looks great. There is my little L-shaped bed with a dwarf coleus. That's the kind I really like. That's as big as it really gets. It gets very thick with a really, really great looking begonia. I'll have more pictures of that. There's the right front of the house with, kind of a riot of color with my favorite color of Egyptian starflower. I think I have more pictures of that. So here's just a series of the different begonias I had, and just the colors all over the place. First one, second one, little blurry because I didn't use a tripod. Sorry, the hand isn't that steady. Another dwarf coleus in front of that one. That first bloom, that's a tuberous kind. Little close-up shot of that. Same thing with that, and another dwarf coleus in front of it. That's a tuberous kind. That's in the front. I'll have another shot of that with it kind of tips of the. That is just great. That one, if I can find it, that goes in there every year. There's another Egyptian starflower of that color in a 12 by 12 planter. Right. So there's another shot of that's my favorite color of the starflower, that really rich red. And there it is later in the year, almost crowding out the New Guinea. So there is the bed in the back. So you can see, here's the shade at 2 o'clock. You know, the stuff at the top of the picture gets shaded at about 12:45, and the petunias in the foreground get shaded about 2:30. So you had sweet Williams to the left of the petunia, those two Agastache. I'm trying to get pollinators, right? So I want hummingbirds, butterflies, bees. No problems with the bees, actually. And there's pulled back a little bit later in the season. All the marigolds are still hanging in there. Panning to the left, all those petunias are actually starting to crowd out a little bit there. There's your purslane, now about 18 inches in diameter. You got 2 African daisies and another sweet William and 2 more Agastache. So there's the front, okay? So you see a bunch of tuberous, you see 2 Rex begonia, 2 coleus, which actually got twice that size, 3 alstroemeria, and a bunch of, the Persian shield is back there, and I have that in there every year. Now, this is what I want my yard to look like all season if I can get it. So this is what I'm most proud of. Here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Calibrachoa in the front, although they all didn't do as well as each other. All the way over on the left is 2 African daisies. To the right of that is an osteospermum. There's your 3 Phlox and Tengia looking flawless. If you let them get any bigger than that, they'll start separating. So you almost got to kind of prune them there. There's a yellow Agastache behind the white one. There's my marigold still looking good, and 2 more coreopsis. So there's your riot of color in 2020.